A new Ukrainian drone is changing the rules of the game. Autopilot, interception, simple to use. The Kremlin is in a panic. Sky Shark heading for Moscow, jet-powered kamikazes are already on their way. A sensation, blackouts in Russia. Trump has given the order. Strikes are inevitable. Long Neptune and Tiger Shark are already flying. Panic on the blogs is off the charts. Another country is entering the war. Factories producing ammunition. Logistics. The Kremlin is shocked. I'll tell you all the details shortly. Hello, this is Ukraine Today. I'm Victoria Panchenko, and here are the latest events. Russian reconnaissance and strike drones. Get ready, a new ultra-powerful interceptor drone, Blitz, is going on the hunt. The Ukrainian company Global Mark, which is the official supplier of DJI drones to Ukraine and also manufactures its own UAVs for the defense forces, has unveiled the Blitz UAV.
Drone specifications: wingspan 1.5 meters, weight 5 kilograms, range from 30 to 100 kilometers. Speed ranges from 90 to 130 kilometers per hour depending on the modification. Maximum altitude is 4,000 meters. Flight time ranges from 20 to 60 minutes.
This Iron Bird is designed to counter reconnaissance aircraft such as Zala, Supercam, Orlan, as well as strike drones like Garand Shahed and others. It is launched from the ground and can be equipped with a target acquisition and homing module. The Blitz is equipped with an autopilot and an automatic target tracking system, which allows even untrained personnel to operate it. In addition to its strike capabilities, the device also performs photo and video reconnaissance missions. It is also equipped with an electric engine. Moreover, there will be even more drones in Ukraine. The president of the European Commission, Ursula von der Leyen, stated that half of the 4 billion euros that the European Union transferred to Ukraine on the first day should be directed towards drone production. According to von der Leyen, the EU views Ukraine as the first line of defense for Europe and therefore must strengthen its military support.
If we all agree that Ukraine is our vital first line of defense, then we must strengthen our military support for Ukraine. That is why today we are allocating 4 billion euros for Ukraine.
And that's not all. The ultra-powerful Sky Shark rocket drones are already on their way to Ukraine. These sky monsters, developed by the British company MGI Engineering, were announced as good news for the Ukrainian armed forces by the company's head, Mike Gascoigne. Moreover, it is likely that very soon these Iron Birds will be flying towards Russia. And this greatly irritates the Kremlin. In addition, there is news that Putin will like even less. Gascoigne noted that there are a number of Ukrainian companies interested in localizing production at Ukrainian facilities. As for the capabilities of the Sky Shark itself, we're talking about a weapon capable of striking targets at a distance of up to 250 kilometers with a warhead weighing up to 20 kilograms. The speed of the missile drone is 450 kilometers per hour. It is also stated that it can hit targets under conditions of satellite navigation jamming. The price of the Sky Shark is £50,000, which is $67,000 for a jet-powered, long-range kamikaze drone. Experts emphasize that this is a very attractive price for such a weapon. In addition, the company is already preparing for the first flight of its cruise missile, the Tiger Shark, which is scheduled to take place in November. This cruise missile has a warhead of up to 300 kilograms and a flight range of 550 kilometers at maximum payload. The missiles are also equipped with 2 engines arranged in a rather rare vertical configuration, one above the other. The Tiger Shark navigation system is also independent of satellite systems. The price of the missile is £400,000, which is $539,000 for a full-fledged, long-range cruise missile with a powerful warhead. And the main intrigue, these missiles are likely to appear in Ukrainian skies as well.
I don't see any problem in using our engineering capabilities to support Ukraine, because it's the right thing to do. The reality is that Ukraine is now showing everyone that everything should be done at cost price. It shouldn't be a missile that costs a couple of million pounds.
By the way, Ukrainian military engineers are also impressive. The parameters of the Long Neptune missile have been revealed, and there's more. Defense Express pointed out a pleasant surprise. The missile's flight range is specified as 1,000 kilometers, which is 3.5 times greater than what was declared for the anti-ship version of the missile. Despite the multiple increase in flight range, the warhead weight of the Long Neptune has also increased, 260 kilograms compared to 150 in the anti-ship version. And this is truly a very unexpected surprise, because usually a greater missile range is achieved precisely by reducing the warhead size. Thanks to previously published photos, it can also be said that the missile's length is 6 meters without the booster, which is about 1.5 meters longer, and the body diameter has increased to approximately 50 centimeters compared to 38. Another very important aspect is the stated capability to strike both land and sea targets. The missile still retains the capability to strike moving targets. And one more piece of good news for the occupiers, the energy sector of the Russian Federation is now in the crosshairs. Trump really got angry and gave an important order. The weapon is already being prepared. Now, trouble will come not only to the frontline regions. Occupiers, get ready for a total blackout.
So basically, there's no power here. There's no electricity anywhere in Belgorod.
Why is everyone silent? Yesterday, Belgorod was in chaos. Sveta, how many hours has there been no power? Old Pskov, no power. New Pskov, no power. Bryansk, Kursk, no power. Tell me, how's your economy doing? Hee hee ha ha.
The U.S. will provide Ukraine with intelligence for missile strikes on Russia's energy system. This was reported by the Wall Street Journal, citing U.S. officials. American officials have also asked NATO allies to provide similar support to Kyiv.
The US will provide Ukraine with intelligence for long-range missile strikes on Russia's energy infrastructure. Meanwhile, the Trump administration is considering the possibility of sending Kyiv powerful weapons that could strike more targets on Russian territory.
Gasoline, gasoline, gasoline.
Let me remind you that the U.S. has long been sharing intelligence data with Kyiv. But as the publication notes, this new step in strengthening military support could make it easier for Ukraine to strike oil refineries, pipelines, power plants, and other infrastructure. Currently, the United States is also considering the possibility of supplying Ukraine with Tomahawk and Barracuda cruise missiles, as well as other American land and air-launched missiles with a range of about 800 kilometers. See right now where these super missiles could strike.
A 180-degree turn. Very soon, the White House will provide Ukraine with long-range Tomahawk missiles. This was stated over the weekend in an interview with Fox News by U.S. Vice President J.D. Vance. And just 2 days later, the intentions were confirmed by U.S. Special Envoy Keith Kellogg. Donald Trump will allow Ukraine to carry out long-range strikes on Russia.
I think that after reading what he said, as well as what Vice President Vance and Secretary of State Rubio said, the answer is yes. You are using the opportunity to strike at long distances. There is nothing sacred about it. And this is one of the reasons why I believe that last week President Zelensky asked President Trump to provide Tomahawk missiles.
Just 2 weeks ago, Trump and his administration were categorically against transferring, let alone striking Russian territory with American Tomahawk missiles. But after the meeting between Zelensky and Trump in New York on September 23rd, the rhetoric from the White House changed. Ukraine's main argument is that having such missiles could increase pressure on Russia and force Putin to come to the negotiating table. Perhaps even without actually using this type of weapon. The transfer of Tomahawks was met with a reaction in the Kremlin. Putin's press secretary Peskov stated that there is no magic weapon for Kyiv that could change the dynamics on the battlefield.
There is no panacea anywhere that could now change the situation on the fronts for the Kyiv regime. There is no magic weapon anywhere, and whether it's Tomahawks or any other missiles, they won't be able to change the dynamics.
The Tomahawk missile has a range of up to 1,600 kilometers, which significantly exceeds the capabilities of the American HIMARS systems using ATACMS missiles. The Tomahawk has greater speed and firepower compared to Ukrainian drones, which are capable of striking deep into Russian territory, but often encounter Russia's modern air defense systems.
It's a truly bad message for the military personnel and those actively assisting them who are specifically located in at least the Bryansk, Kursk, Voronezh, and Rostov regions, among others. And on the occupied territories, of course, wherever there are enemy military facilities. I believe that the demilitarization of Crimea from Russian presence will continue, as well as in occupied Donetsk and Luhansk. There will be even more strikes on them.
President Zelensky handed President Trump a list of the necessary military aid as part of a $90 billion agreement, and Ukraine also wants to hold separate negotiations with the United States regarding the supply of specific types of weapons, particularly long-range ones.
All of this, in principle, is provided for in our large $90 billion agreement, but we are ready for separate deals for specific types of weapons, including long-range ones. I can't share any more details. According to
the British publication The Sun, Ukrainian attacks on the oil refining industry alone have caused Russia losses of more than $100 billion. And that's without Tomahawk missiles. If they appear, the scale of the damage could increase several times over.
Every voice matters. Join our community, support independent journalism and help us bring you the truth from Ukraine. Become a member of Ukraine Today. Join us now.
Europe is also not lagging behind when it comes to weapons production. The Czech Republic is entering the war with Russia. Joint production of lethal weapons with Ukraine will be launched at factories on the territory of allies, and streams of ammunition from Czech warehouses will go directly to the front. Full control over supplies, independent reserves, and logistics. This is not just aid. This is a strategic shift that could bury the Kremlin's plans. Don't miss the details coming up next.
Ukraine and the Czech Republic are creating their own Ramstein. Our country's goal is to deepen this cooperation through the signing of an intergovernmental agreement and a support program for affected enterprises. The industrial Ramstein was noted by Ukraine's Minister of Economy, Environment and Agriculture, Oleksiy Sobolyev.
Not only in the Czech defense industry, but also the country's political leadership at the moment of the so-called Vítěz initiative is a key element in providing material and technical support to Ukraine's defense forces.
The Embassy of the Czech Republic in Kiev reports that the Czech Republic supports Ukraine's democratic transformation and Euro-Atlantic integration, both in the political sphere and through concrete projects and initiatives. For the Ministry of Foreign Affairs of the Czech Republic, Ukraine is a priority country for transformational cooperation, a country of special focus within the framework of Czech development cooperation, and a beneficiary of humanitarian aid.
At the moment, under the Czech initiative, about 2 million artillery shells have already been delivered. This has significantly strengthened the capabilities of Ukraine's defense forces, particularly in counter-battery warfare, and accordingly increased their effectiveness against Russian armored vehicles. The Czech side has supplied about 70 T-72 M1 tanks to meet the needs of the Ukrainian armed forces. More than 140 combat vehicles and multiple launch rocket systems have also been delivered, along with approximately 4.5 million rounds of ammunition. This includes shells for artillery systems and rocket projectiles, as well as non-lethal weapons.
Despite the war in Ukraine, 220 Czech companies remain in operation there. Additionally, as part of the cooperation, Ukraine plans to provide the Czech Republic with a list of the necessary industrial equipment required by enterprises affected by the military actions.
On the territory where the shells are delivered, repairs are being carried out on damaged armored vehicles, among other equipment. In addition, this also includes the production of artillery shells. For the first time, Soviet caliber 152 mm. That is, these are the enterprises that have remained on Czech territory since the time of the Warsaw Pact. And considering that about 70% of the equipment in the armed forces of Ukraine is still of Soviet design, this cannot be underestimated. This is the advantage of this side.
Within the framework of the Czech initiative, the processes of procurement and delivery of ammunition are being optimized.
The Czech Republic, a steadfast European nation, has consistently supplied Ukraine's valiant armed forces with both essential airplanes and versatile helicopters, and has in turn accordingly formed its own robust aviation units for its national armed forces. However, at this present moment, the primary and most significant Czech initiative is precisely the crucial creation of so-called coalitions, which are vital for collective defense efforts. These in turn are aimed at strengthening the capabilities of Ukraine's defense forces in the face of Russian aggression.
The historical memory of the Czech people remembers well the disaster that Russia can bring to foreign lands. That is why the Czechs support Ukraine, which is now fighting the aggressor, preventing the Russians from seizing not only their own country but also Europe.
And what do you think about this news? We're waiting for your comments. There's more to come. Stay tuned for the main updates and don't forget to like the video. Wishing you peaceful skies above.